I'm looking for a
trad wife, sourdough, homestead, crunchy, eats meat, butter, wants kids, chickens, tinfoil, tallow, content.
Ahoy there, everybody, and welcome aboard Unconstitutional Awakening the Podcast. I'm your captain, Jim Bob Ovalshorts, and welcome back, everyone. It's been about a month since I think we've had an episode, but we've all been super busy, man. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. I don't want to speak, of course, for everyone, but I know we've all been missing one another and missing the goings-on with you guys and having the show, of course. Yeah. We've had a couple people with some health issues, a couple people with some moving issues, and just life and as it is going on. You know, everybody needs a break every now and then, and especially from Clown World. And you know, we've just had to take it kind of easy here for a little while. I know tonight, as far as I know, Luis and Neptune were supposed to be joining me. So far, not seeing either, but I imagine they'll be here shortly. Speaking of, here we are with Luis. How are you doing, buddy? Long time no enjoyment. How you been?
Good.
Well, that's excellent, man. I see you've got your set up in the new digs. The room looks a little smaller, and you're a lot closer to the camera than normal. So,
Oh, well, that's a mix of things I need to set up.
so how's things going on up there with yourself? I know everybody's missed Luis as well. I know I've missed Luis.
I'd say absolute chaos as usual. That's basically a summary. It's just chaos. And I have to check which microphone is being used right now.
Yes, because you do sound kind of interesting. I was getting to that, but I didn't want to call
Do
you
you
out
hear
right
me
away.
now much better?
You're super louder, but you're definitely singled out instead of doubled.
Oh, I was doubled. So is that better now?
You still kind of sound a little echoey.
Now? Echoey?
Just like extra loud.
Extra loud. Oh,
Yeah.
is this better?
Oh, hey, whoa, there we are.
Hey.
All right.
All right, calibrated. Sorry.
No worries. No worries at all. Friggin', I mean, you know, along with the world being full of chaos, as I was saying before you joined us on my little introduction there, we've all just been super busy. That's why we've all been away from the computer, whether it be summer activities or moving or health problems. I know we've all been busy, such as life, you know, like,
Well, you have to always remember at the end of the day, you have to be somewhat ready if World War III starts knocking on your door. I'm sure our great grandparents or grandparents were like, well, that shit is make babies. That's the only thing I really, really I want to understand their mindset. Okay, we're all gonna die. Make babies. And then today they're like, oh, we're all gonna die. We don't want to bring babies into the world because it's so terrible. Like, okay.
and that's again, I guess, where either you could call it an old soul or a traditional or just going about the way I want to go with things. I mean, heck, I'm working on number 4. He'll be here in October, so
Oh god.
you know, like why not populate the world with kids that aren't in the system? Like, is that not the only way to fix the system, is to do things outside of the system, right? Like,
So are you declaring your children will officially not be in the system?
I mean, they're not getting the indoctrination from public schooling. My lovely wife does an amazing job with the homeschooling. There's so many things available in 2024 that weren't available when we were coming up, as far as access to education and stuff like that, like online, that it's beyond ridiculous. Like, we have everything from tablet work to workbooks to full-blown websites that we log in and do, you know, different things with. My kids they didn't take the summer off like everybody else. They've still been having to do some of their schoolwork, and I just try to keep them ahead of everybody else. In reality, if we actually put 8 hours a day to it, we'd probably have them graduated before they were even teenagers.
Why don't you? Because that way,
I
if they
should,
want
shouldn't
to,
I?
this is the way you got to look at it. If they want to go into crafts or arts or trades, they're going to be years ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
When they do have kids, they're going to have 200 probably $1,000 jobs by then.
Right.
So
Right.
you are actually preparing them for real life better
Yes.
than any system or parent ever could.
Everything from my
You're doing essentially what rich people do.
perspective,
Train the
everything
kids to already be self-sufficient before they
ev-
even.
everything is a life lesson. Like everything, whether it's getting up in the morning and cooking eggs, or doing some kind of work around the house or out in the yard, or heck, I take the boy with me on adventures sometimes. He, like I threw him in the truck one day and drove him all the way to Atlanta with me. Like, it's life experience has taught me more personally than school ever did. I was ahead of the curve in school. I was the gifted child. I had a really high GPA, and I just seen life starting. So literally halfway through my senior year, I went and just did my GED and then dropped out, like, all within a month. I was just tired of it. I was already working. And listen, you guys will all laugh at me. I was making $5.15 an hour, busting my ass all day.
What is 515 adjusted for inflation?
$5.15 adjusted for inflation.
Probably more than we think it is.
Like, if it actually kept up, because that was minimum wage when I first started working.
Yeah, but if you think about it, you started working what, early 2000s?
Early 2000s.
Adjusted for inflation, that's what, $16 an hour, $17 an hour.
5.15.
It's inflation's literally killing us, and it's global. It's not local, so we'll stay like the
Absolutely.
entire world is printing. That
I
like,
have
it's all not happening. Like, this is the reason why, like, the system's not gone completely out of whack is basically because the entire world chose to also print simultaneously.
True.
What did the inflation calculator adjust to calculate?
I'm looking.
Did you find it?
Was
signal processing.
2. All right. Well, for some reason, this calculator won't go back further than 2010 that I found, and I was just trying to find one quick. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. AI actually has an answer for me.
Okay.
It says certainly. Let's calculate the inflation adjusted value for
2003.
Yep. And it said that in today's dollars, I would be probably making
$9.39.
$10.89 is what I got.
Okay. Yeah. So I was not too far, but yeah, double the amount of money. Just contemplate that. Double. It's double.
And that, like, I'm glad that I don't make just that, because I definitely couldn't make it. I mean, I couldn't make it then. There was 9 of us living in a house, nine dudes and one random chick that was one of the guys too. We all rented a 4-bedroom house together in Rockdale County, Georgia. And some of us worked at the theater, some of us worked at a restaurant, some of us worked at both. And we all just pooled our money together and lived out of that one place. It was an adventure. It was a time. That's for sure. We had some good stories, from Waffle House trumps to having to help bail friends out of jail while they're still dressed in drag. So
oh yeah, you told me something about that. I remember now.
they were all we all went to a Waffle House after movie night, and they all got, because all right, so when a benefit of working at the movie theater back then as a projectionist, you
Saw all the movies for free.
saw, not only did you see all the movies for free, but you had to put the movies together. You usually got them on Tuesday or Wednesday, and so usually Thursday nights after the theater closed, all the employees and their guests were allowed to come watch the brand new movie that was about to drop the following day. And so we used to do that all the time. And one of these nights, we all got a little turned up. It was for Spider-Man 2. Actually, I'll never forget this. We got pretty lit that night, and one of the fellas was dressed in drag for some reason and got into a fight in Waffle House, and we ended up having to go get him out of jail the following morning, which was great because he was still had his makeup on and everything, and still in his little black dress. So, and
I'm sure it was a fun time in jail.
I'm
in
sure he had a blast.
In 2000 what?
2003, 2004.
Yeah. Well, at least we've progressed, right? Because this is the thing. It's like we need to accept anything like that, because that's not what's harmful.
Sure.
What's harmful is not that. And I hate so much all the people online stating that people in the South are hateful and that like they don't want women's like, it's all this nonsense.
It is.
And most of them don't agree with half that shit completely anyway. Like,
No,
they
absolutely.
might be pro-life, but they're also not like, well, they're not trying to ban the Plan B or some things like that.
Right. No, it's there is definitely a big misconception of the South, and living in a bunch of different places, I've seen the differences. Like when I first moved to New York, when I was old enough to actually like do anything and be an adult out in the world, like I'd get asked all the time. They're like, "Oh, isn't everybody down there so racist?" And I'm just like, "What are you talking about? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, it didn't make sense to me."
People that don't travel.
Yeah, that's it. And you have that on both sides of the fence. Now you have that down here as well. You know what I'm saying? That they've never left their small town Georgia, and yeah, they're probably not the easiest people to get along with. You know what I mean? Like traveling, I think, is a very necessary thing in human life, because once you've traveled around, especially to different states and even countries, and met people from other places,
People not accepting your bullshit is not racism.
Exactly. But
that's the difference. They don't accept your bullshit as much as they do in the North.
One thing
that is perceived as racism if they are different, but in reality is like, you are in somebody else's territory, whatever the situation may be, and if they disagree with you, that's disagreeing with you. That's not because of the color of your skin or the context of your
one thing I absolutely like realized with this was that once you actually do travel to places and you do talk to people from different, states, countries, whatever, you start realizing that more people are alike than they are different. Like when you actually sit down and have a conversation with people, that's why there's so many of those viral TikToks that people, like some kind of cringy knack that somebody has, and then you see that millions of other people do it too. Like that's a real thing. Like if more people would talk, you'd see that you have far more in common than the people on the news are telling you to hate the other people for.
What is likely more relevant now is the what is really considered a far left is a minority, and they are so loud, so they look like a majority.
Sure.
And the plurality of the majority of the country is actually, I hate this shit, I don't want to deal with it.
And this selection is definitely showing that. Like they
don't want to deal with it, but at the same time, it's like, well, you also have to call out the corruption and the theft. It's like you still have to look. It's very simple. For like absentee ballots, let people do absentee ballots as they normally do. Just don't do in voting and only do paper ballots. Like it's very simple.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well,
not rocket science.
There's
and voter ID. Like that's so. I mean, I'm an extremist. I would say if a true change were to come, it would be you would have to take a test to vote. And if you pass that test, then you can vote. Oh, you lost the competency to understand the context of what you're voting for, then you don't vote. That's
okay,
isn't that simple? It's like if you don't understand what you're voting for, then your vote is dangerous.
Sure.
Be it local, be it like, oh, I'm voting for that person because they're pretty. I'm like, I don't like what? No.
But between the inflation and between the politics and stuff like that, I personally, from my perspective, I am seeing greed, and I'm seeing it down to a local level, because I'm even seeing, like, even in my own state and close by towns, people that forcibly get themselves on, like, the county commission, get themselves voted in as commissioners and stuff like that, only to use it to their advantage. Like, I find it awfully funny that 4 surrounding counties, including the one that I'm in, on the commissions, all have somebody that work for the same. They're like a real estate group, but I swear to God, it's like a mini BlackRock. Like, they're the ones buying up everything, and it's just odd that other people have got on this.
If they're Masons, because Masons are deep into real estate, do you imagine? Oh, it's simpler. It's just a Mason group. It's a lodge. They're just working together.
The only reason I guess I'm concerned is because they're coming in, and they're the ones coming in and using, this piece of land has been sitting vacant or blah 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 for so long, and they're turning it into fucking community after community after community that we don't really need, like down here anyway.
Well, but the thing is,
and being part of the problem of all of this crazy housing nonsense.
So middle density is the better density framework. So not like big city density, but like small town density, like medium density. That's actually more appropriate for most spaces. We have the capability of doing that type of density, but we need to stop designing how we're designing. Like that's it. Like fundamentally, we can make super communities, and in ways and forms that, like, look at how architects like design now communities. If they take off all of the restrictions, how they do mixed zoning. When you look at mixed zoning, that's the beautiful thing. When you see all of there's an example in Canada. I think it's in Toronto. It was a whole suburb. So the whole street, I think, or 2 streets or something, that they decided to start selling things in front of their house, and then another, and then another. And the entire street is all businesses, but also people live there.
Yeah. Well, I met a lady that has been forced out of her house twice due to airport expansions. The first time was back in the 80s when she lived in Riverdale, Georgia, which is at the base of the Atlanta airport. And she moved all the way out after she was forced out of there. And, the state basically bought her house for the airport and shit. She moved and bought another house multiple counties away. And they decided that they're building a sister to that airport down over here near this interstate exit where she happens to live now. And they've forced her to sell her another house so that they can put runways through there again. Like, and I'm big in the preservation of history, and there's just so many. They're gobbling up all of this land and historical places for strip malls or gas stations or cookie cutter houses that are built like garbage. Like, listen, like the houses that they're building today, man, it's more efficient. It's press board and 1x3s, and most of these houses aren't going to be here in 100 years. Not like the ones that were built 100 years ago that are still sitting here.
So we are kind of reversing that, but yes, not enough. So once 3D printing of homes becomes a commonplace, we can essentially build hundreds of cement homes in a matter of a few months with a few machines. And there's a few pilot programs happening in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. And we are getting to a point I would say 15 to 20 years from now, there will be no housing scarcity whatsoever. There will be no housing crisis at all.
I don't think
Everybody will have a home, and like there will be no homelessness in 20 years. Sadly, it's not happening tomorrow, even though we can end homelessness tomorrow.
we just like cars, there are already enough homes existing in America as it is to house the people.
Oh no,
and everything.
I mean, there will be enough corrections. Right now, they're pushing for it, but they weren't successful, and I believe they probably weren't successful in pushing. So BlackRock would divest all of their real estate assets.
And that's another thing. I don't think
pushing
corporations should be able to buy up property the way that
Well,
places like that do.
let's rephrase it. Mega corporations, because
I don't think
an individual has a corporation. I have a corporation. Like my corporation can't own the house I live in. I own the corporation. I own the house. It's for tax purposes. That's what I mean. It's like megacorps. Megacorps being essentially multi-billion-dollar entities. Those there is a valid argument for them not to own homes, but anything of a certain scale, yes, they shouldn't.
And see, I've heard, but
I live in a place that has the slumlord of slumlords. And when I mean slumlord, I mean I moved and there's a sewage problem, and we've told management I don't know how many freaking times, and at this point, we're about to all come together and screw them and stop paying rent. So that they're going to lose $140,000 a month if they keep it up. So yeah, the level of stupid that people commit to is outrageous. Like people are paying you to do a service, and then when you fail to do the service, they can screw you. And when they are 41 units, and like there's probably 36 occupied, so let's say 36 units, so that's 100 people are really fucking mad. Guess what? Those people have more rights than the landlord.
Sure.
In most states, by the way, this is not exclusive to New York. In most states, they're going to screw the landlord over. The landlord's not going to fight the battle where they're going to win. And it's ridiculous. Like, this building might be condemned if the building gets to a certain point. And guess what? They just kick us all out. That's what happens. If they condemn the building, they kick us all out. So we're like worried. We're like, do your job or we will get all kicked out. And if we all get kicked out, we're going to take you to court and we're going to make your life a living hell. That's what we have to do in order to just make them do the minimum maintenance.
It just seems like more and more people are getting rich off of housing, and I don't know if I agree with that.
So before it was 5 to 1. It took you 5 to 6 years to pay off a home based off your income. Like it would equal the home price equal the median income of a person times 5 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point it was 3 to 4. Like it was nothing. Like you could buy a house almost straight up. This was in the 80s at 18% interest.
And then they created the credit system and royally fucked
it wasn't the credit system, but
I mean that's about the same time.
No. What actually has been destroying incomes and like what's been craving slavery is compound interest. And there's a case you can look up. It's American Express versus somebody, and that's the one that made it so interest rates had no cap. So before, states had an interest rate cap.
Yes. But this also has to do with the creation of the new credit system that they enacted in the 80s that we currently use today. Prior to that, that's not how the credit system worked.
What was the system before the credit system change?
Don't understand it, actually, because I wasn't alive. So, or if I was too little.
Yes. We understand things before our time, unless it's all been a lie. You imagine it's all a lie. past? If it was all a lie,
I mean,
from when point it wasn't all a lie?
from what I know though, it was actually based off of real like income and assets. You know what I'm saying?
But it was also much easier to fake that stuff back then.
Sure.
Hence, have you remember the movie Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah. I mean, sure, but like because they wanted to do it the way that they do it now, we are in the situation we are in now.
It's a mixed bag, right? It's not necessarily that's the cause. The cause is more correlated to what generates value and what generates scarcity in a society that has no true scarcity. What's the only thing that's tangibly scarce? You have to create scarcity where there is no scarcity. Think about it. What is scarce today?
I mean,
Other than healthy foods. Healthy foods are scarce.
I mean, I guess I really don't know other than the ability to be able to get into a house because I watched how fucking trailers. You can't even find a fucking trailer that was built in the 70s for under $150,000.
I can find you like 30 of them. What are you
Go
talking
for it. You won't find a single one down here in Georgia.
I remember I've
you won't.
A trailer ready to move in or a trailer?
Yeah, a trailer ready to move in.
Yeah, maybe ready to move in, but you can fix up your own, like buy one and fix it up.
Okay, well, I have 4 children, so I can't actually do that. Because then I'm going to have the state knocking at my door and shit like that. Because, you know, it's not a completely livable house yet, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that's the thing is, what do you think is the weird controversial part with deregulating? Do you think we're going to get the beautiful like event of massive deregulation and dismantling of federal systems? I mean, because, you know,
one can hope,
when the Epstein files are not released, okay, then that's grounds for the dismissal of the FBI. It's very simple.
I mean, it's been grounds for dismissal of the FBI for a minute now.
Well, since what was his name? The one there, the building's named after him, and he was also a closeted gay man that was in power over 7 presidents.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And his name's on the tip of my tongue.
Right. But there's pictures of him. This is he was also black.
Yes.
Look, his story is fascinating. It's like, yeah, he was the most powerful black man in America for decades, and nobody had an idea he was even black.
It's
the head of the FBI. Everybody's like, racism here, racism there. So I'm like, wait, isn't the head of the FBI black?
It's I don't know. They've done a very good job most of my life while my grandparents and parents were too busy to pay attention. Just making it impossible for people like me. Like I got to a point like I mean I've gotten to the point of I just don't care and I'm just doing as I do because when I finally made enough money in my lifetime to be able to do the things that I want, now it's worthless.
What is worthless?
$20 an hour.
I mean, no, you need $50 an hour.
I know. That ain't ever gonna happen. Appliance world has been capped at $20 an hour for as long as I can remember.
Well, you need to be doing something greater because you have the capability to do much greater.
Everybody tells me that, and then when I go to try to do anything, nobody wants to give me money, so it never works, and I'm stuck in a toxic cycle that's never going to end. So I'm just going to have to ride it out until I die.
No. Well, we have to change that because I have not heard of the official move for you to do one of those things. I have a friend.
I've tried time and time again.
I have a friend that if you have a solid idea, he will help you in every way he can.
I've never
He
met a
is a-
person that wants to invest in me or any of that. So,
Well, I would invest in you, and I'm sure a lot of other people that watch it would invest in you. It's just a matter of you being open to it.
but I've been doing this 3 years and can't even sell a fucking t-shirt. So, no, nobody wants to invest in me.
No, you have been deplatformed more times than I can fathom to imagine. Look at John.
I know.
John is worse off than you in certain situations.
That's because he quit his day job to just do internet stuff, which I think is ignorant. Like, that's why I won't do it.
It's a bunch of other things too, but like, I did warn him. It's like, stop using normal language.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That's the only thing that's kept us around recently was using abnormal language. Like, it's just, I don't know. It is, and I'm not trying to like bark up a tree. I live with it. I deal with it. I've already faced the fact that if the system continues to be the way that the system is, I will work until I die. Like, I'll just be dragging refrigerators until the day I fall to the ground.
No,
And there's not much I can do about it.
there's 100 businesses you can run. So,
You know, and I've been there with that too. And I've been the boss of a bunch of places.
just run a Buc-ee's. It's 120,000 salary. What are you doing?
The closest Buc-ee's is like an hour away.
Who cares? It is a great salary. And you qualify. You probably could qualify to run that in a minute.
Yeah, maybe.
This is the thing. There is countless opportunities around us. We are just sometimes we build blinders around us, and then we can't see the opportunity.
I've heard that before too, and like, I don't know. I've finally reached the point where I've been kicked enough that I just don't even want to get back up.
Get back up.
It's pointless at this point because it doesn't matter how much I try. Every time I get ahead, they make it more impossible for me to get ahead.
So what's this attempt?
There isn't anyone. I've given up. Like,
come on, don't say that.
I can't even get like, how many more messages can I leave with the USDA? Like, they won't even return one. They won't return an email. Nothing. Every single day, the alarm goes off and they're contacted. Every single day.
Just find a different route.
I don't know.
I'll help you out with that tomorrow. I know there's different routes. Stop saying that. It's government. You have to be persistent. Yes, you have to be persistent. But
how long do I continue to be persistent before I'm allowed to give up? Like, everybody's always telling me, "Oh, I'm not allowed to give up. Oh, I'm not allowed to give up," and I'm fucking tired. No. I'm fucking tired. Like, I'm falling apart. I'm not able to barely do what I was able to do before because joints and shit are fucking solidifying and not working properly anymore from doing this for 15 years. Like, it's each day it's getting worse, you know, like, it's just one of those things. And I make enough to get by and feed my children, and that's all I can do right now. But the way prices are going, it's getting even harder.
Well, we're reaching a weird point, a really weird point, where if they continue this path, there's going to be a lot of angry single men. What does a bunch of angry single men do?
Yeah, I mean, we could hope.
I mean, it's happening right now. Do you think AI is going to pacify them? It's not. I think that's their
goal. No, but you know what is
girlfriend will pacify them.
But you know what is going to pacify them? Putting a fucking orange retard in the office. and continue kicking the can down the road for another 4 years until they can come up with another plan. Because he's in on it as much as the rest of them are. I don't care how much people want to try to convince me that he's not. He's just literally the other flavor so they can keep kicking the can.
He's a strange flavor. I wouldn't say he's just another flavor. He's a strange flavor. He's not exactly the other flavor, because at least that weird article we just shared was showing Zelensky so afraid of him coming into office that peace might come. If peace comes to Ukraine before that guy comes into office, that tells you a lot more than we think.
But it...
What if, I mean,
this is the thing. But it really
is. He is not a good guy, but at the same time, it's like, it's this weird situation of, it's not even him who destroys America. It's his son, according to the predictions, or at least the last president, his son. It's not even him. Remember that random video that just came out this week or last week? That it was the he's in a golf cart. It's Barron's the guy next to him, by the way, sitting in the chair. It's Barron.
But when you give people the facts of the matter and the things that he did and didn't actually do when he was in office last time, like, he's nothing more than another pawn.
We are slowly discovering who the kingmakers are. You think we won't discover them?
Not when you still got more of the population still doing backflips for an orange colored person. Like, I just, it's mind boggling to see everybody continue to fall for the same thing. It's stressful.
And what's the alternative? I mean, we do have the guy with the worm in his brain.
I mean, there's got to be other answers. It can't be just the fucking clowns that are put in front of us.
I speak to the delusional people, and it blows my mind to witness them being like, yeah, Biden's competent. Biden's not senile. I knew he was senile several years ago because I took care of my grandparents, and I watched senility live in action. Anybody that's ever taken care of an elderly human understands what senility looks like.
Yep.
And what's interesting is in the last debate, when they were both talking to each other, Biden said in the interview, an ABC interview, he was screaming. Trump was never screaming. He was likely hallucinating. In his memories, he was hallucinating that Trump was screaming. So he's now in the hallucinating state. Remember, in a few times, in a few places in the podium, he was looking at people that weren't there, and he was shaking the hands of people that weren't there. He's been hallucinating. I looked up what it was, so a lot of people figured out what it was. It's called. There's actually a term for what he has. It's so. The first lady, not the first lady, the potential president of the United States, Kamala, has pseudo-bulbar syndrome, and then he has. It's interesting. Dang it! It's basically a form of senility, but I'm trying to figure it out. I found the diagnosis the other day. I'm trying to find it here, but it's a form of dementia that has hallucinations as a component of it. So,
but still, at the end of the day, that centerpiece, figurehead, main puppet is nothing with the continuous sitting members of Congress that are worth millions, only making $80,000 a year.
Now they make $180,000.
Regardless,
it's $180,000 a year.
The The only way, and that they shouldn't make that. They should make minimum wage.
It's weird. According to Singapore, no. Singapore pays them an average of $1 million a year, and that actually lowers corruption to a very high degree. The idea that politicians should be paid a low salary is actually counterintuitive.
Why? Why should they make more
Because
than me
that-
to take my money and fuck up the country?
Because that then opens them up for corruption.
It should go back to what it originally was, and it has to be voluntary. And you need a day job if you want to continue to do it.
It's bizarre. I mean, the separate part altogether is we need to deregulate and put just put everything in a sunset the situation where all regulations sunset. At least the majority of regulations just expire, because the problem is we have so much glut of over-regulation that's actually the main cause of economic issues we have globally.
Or lobbying. I'm going to have to disagree and tell you that it's definitely going to be all the lobbying that's done.
I mean,
which is nothing but bribery. They just put a fancy name on it.
So here it is. I think I found it. So, God dang it. Well, I'll find it soon. Point is, he's senile, and it's diagnosable.
I mean, I've only been saying that since he was falling down the stairs a couple of years ago.
It's because he had the surgeries, the 2 brain surgeries. I was talking to somebody else, and he was like, "Where did you get that? Like, did you get it from Fox News?" I'm like, "Dude, it came from his own mouth. Like, he said it. Like, did you see the speech, like the clip that just came out where he said, 'I had sex with your wife' or something?"
Oh my God.
Or, "I fucked your wife."
I was dying for that week after that debate where he was talking about they defeated Medicare. It's just like, wait, what?
I mean, he did. He destroyed it.
Yeah, I know, but he was talking about COVID, and he just somehow got off to a little trance there, and yeah, he defeated that.
No, he destroyed Medicare. Yeah. I think it was Vox they were doing a deep dive into Medicare, and they were like, if we cleaned up Medicare, we would clean up like $800 billion in overspending. $800 billion in overspending. Like, we are literally throwing almost $1 trillion a year away.
Let me rewind a little bit. You were talking about the Singapore and $1 million thing on their theory there, but like
the countries ran like a corporation.
I can't because every one of ours are corrupt millionaires that got all of their money through corruption to begin with. That's the only reason they're millionaires. And
Singapore has a very different system, and they will punish you severely for it.
And like,
there's no true justice system. The justice system is broken as well. Like, let's not fool ourselves. I mean,
I just couldn't.
I live in a city.
I just couldn't see giving Nancy Pelosi $1 million salary while there's veterans dying on the street because they have nowhere to go.
And that's the thing. It should be tied to a degree to the prosperity of the nation. Yes, I don't disagree with that. Like what you were saying is like, you live by what's the median salary of the American people.
I mean, they're the ones who enacted what the minimum wage is. So they're like, I don't believe in minimum wage. I think minimum wage should be zero. Like there shouldn't be such a thing.
Minimum wage is complicated, right? Because in many countries with a much higher standard wage, right? Like what is it called? The market wage. Mm-hmm. They don't have it. Like Denmark doesn't have minimum wage.
Yeah, I don't like comparing to Denmark though. They're still absolute garbage.
Their people are happier to a degree. I know they're on psychotropic drugs too. Like that's a whole nother problem. Like Denmark is the most prescribed country on earth, and then I think we're the country with the most antidepressant prescriptions, I believe, is Denmark.
And they pay the most taxes among anybody.
At least the country was clean, proper, and good, but
Until the invasion of everybody coming from all the places America's destroying.
And that's weird. Like, why would you? Well, except Romania, Hungary, and all these countries are like, you know what? We're not going to do any of that. And
Yeah,
you look
Poland.
in Poland. You look at Romania and Poland. At the rate they're going to be richer than half of Europe. And I'm like, so they were right.
And I'm not saying anything like I'm all for the ability to
Migrate.
be able to migrate and go to another place and better yourself. You know,
Don't open the
all for
door
that.
wide open and then use the money of the people to fund.
Yes.
So this is the thing.
Yes.
What people don't understand, and then that's when they shut down your argument, is they're like, but you don't want to let all these people in. I'm like, I don't mind letting them in, but you understand, like somebody was talking about, you're using your social security money in order to finance it. What do you think that money's coming from?
Absolutely.
It's coming from the social security money. That money's meant for you, for me, and for anybody that becomes ill, becomes unable to work, and needs housing and needs support. And I am all for supporting those individuals that can't support themselves. But
Sure.
when you are utilizing the budget of the government in order to fund just massive immigration because you're printing money off human beings, because it's possible our money system is based off the amount of citizens we have.
Sure.
Because
there's
what is it based off? Like,
there is a conspiracy theory out there. I've spoken on it in the past before, that your birth certificate is your receipt that gets sent to the Bank of London as your funds or whatever.
If the world is that dysfunctionally discombobulated, where the city of London still has some form of control over the American corporation.
The Bank of London is in charge of the American corporation.
Who are the three banks that are part of the Federal Reserve?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, but I do know that. Let's see. Three banks.
I know Goldman Sachs, I believe, actually is one of them.
Federal Reserve System. It would be the board.
Oh my God!
The Board of Governors
explained
the Federal Reserve banks.
But who are the Federal Reserve banks?
Listen, this is AI. It tells me that it is the Board of Governors located in Washington, D.C., and the board oversees the entire system. It tells me it's the 12 Federal Reserve banks. These banks operate across the nation within its own geographic district, and the Federal Open Market Committee.
Well, firstly, I believe Nebraska is actually independent of the system. But that was I believe Nebraska is weirdly outside of the system for a degree. I can't remember what was the full breakdown explanation, but like they're technically not fully integrated, or like they can do things outside of the federal system. But yeah, it's a private bank that issues then loans against us, and then somehow that loan that is issued towards us is charged at interest. And then that charge of interest is what builds the trust that we will pay it back or something. It's a scam. And it only turns lopsided with time. There is no economist with a functioning brain cell that doesn't see this as like the only way to fix this is by refinancing. And what does that look like? Remember the last time they refinanced, what happened?
Mhm.
They took all the gold. You
Okay,
remember
so-
your
yeah.
buddy, your favorite president, the guy that took all the gold, the bad Roosevelt.
The other one has a few questionable things as
Sure,
well.
but comparatively.
Oh, but comparatively, absolutely. No, 100%.
w-
So all right, so what I was mentioning earlier is with the birth certificate thing is that the theory holds that an individual has two personas. One of them is a physical, tangible human being, and the other is a legal persona, often referred to as legal fiction. And when the baby is born in the U.S., a birth certificate is issued, and the parents apply for the social security number. That, of course, is the stuff that's sent to the Bank of London and makes you unsovereign, as you're now caught up in the treasury account because of your numbers or whatever from your birth certificate.
So this is I've seen these wild stories that supposedly somebody was able to cash in on whatever.
I've seen that too, and I don't know about that.
Believe it. I'm like, show me the frickin' proof.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing is like you take this to an actual court and they'll be like, what are you talking about? Like the judge is not gonna know what the fuck you're talking about. So how are you gonna get anywhere if the judge doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about?
True. But it doesn't really matter when you got judges like the one here in Atlanta that are blatantly doing illegal things in their cases to
What?
get them mistrialed.
Wait, was your judge the one that she was like lying on the stand and like her boyfriend?
That's one of them, and then there's also the one recently that was in some rapper's case, and
That's right.
yeah, and that was a fella, and
What? I saw the clip where the guy just stands up and he's like, "Tell me." I'm like,
yeah, because
the fuck is going on?
Apparently there was some stuff that was disclosed behind closed doors with the plaintiff or something that wasn't disclosed with the defense or vice versa, and that dude stood up to like be like, whoa, like this, and he was like, how'd you learn about me doing this? And he was mad that the judge the judge was mad that he wouldn't rat on who told on him, and so he put him held him in contempt of court. And then like the lady, like one of the bigwig ladies, comes down and basically told him in court, like, no, you can't do that, no, what you're doing is illegal, and it ended up leading to a mistrial and it being dismissed.
So right now that rapper is free.
Yep.
Which Young Thug was it?
I think it was Young Thug or one
What
of
was
the
the
related
trial
ones.
about? I didn't follow. I just remember it's like some fucked up shit was happening with the trial.
Let's see.
I don't even remember what was the case about. I knew that it was sketchy. The whole trial was sketchy, and like his lawyer was like incredible, evidently in relation to.
His lawyer was.
He was actually dedicated to actually getting the fucking case resolved.
All right, it was a racketeering conspiracy. Apparently, he's accused of co-funding and overseeing a gang called Young Slime. The gang allegedly engaged in drug sales, armed robberies, and shootings in Fulton County, Georgia. Jeffrey Williams, who is Young Thug, denies the charges and has been in jail since his arrest in May of 2022. But then
this is the thing. It's like a person of that high of an economic situation stops being affiliated with that stuff very fast.
So the trial began in January of 2023 and finally reached opening statements in November of 2023. And then it was Young Thug's lawyer, Brian Steele. He was criticizing the prosecution, calling the trial an authoritarian absurdity, and the case faced a whole bunch of delays, and most of his witnesses never even made it up there. And Judge Glanville, like, somehow made the case get completely off the rails with all the crap he was doing, and so it ended up getting dismissed. But I mean, that's the thing. Like we have. You made a mention earlier about our justice system being broke, and I think that's a really big thing, because we have judges and all the way down to like polices and deputies and stuff like that that are just They tell you that they're just following orders, and if you want the laws changed, vote different next time. And
So
you
this is
know,
the thing.
every time I hear that,
You know what I believe in? Yogurt.
all right,
I believe in yogurt. You ever
right.
watched Love, Death and Robots?
Yes, but it's been a minute.
The yogurt short that the yogurts basically stabilized society and brought it from the brink.
All right.
What do you think AGI is actually gonna do?
AI?
You think AGI can fix this nonsense?
I don't know if it can. I don't know if it can fix any of this nonsense.
It can. Already, MIT, I remember years ago, determined that it's possible to create a completely stable economy. We live in a completely falsified reality.
I mean, we've had a stable economy before, and then governments got involved.
We had a stable economy in the 60s.
Sure.
And that was before, like, Reagan was probably the most destructive president the United States has had. And yeah,
And that's who everybody claims Trump is. That's who everybody claims Trump is just like.
And it's like, I mean, no, he isn't. But it's weird. It's
He did
really
add a
weird.
hell of $1 trillion of money to the debt.
Oh no, I mean, he allowed quantitative easing to go on a spending spree. It really comes down to how accountability is structured. Like, the way we fix this is, number one, we destroy a bunch of safety nets that were established in order to stabilize the corruption.
Yes.
You have millions of people that extract from the government, and we need to tell them, go fuck yourselves. Enough.
Every last bit of qualified immunity that any government employee has needs to be thrown out the frigging door. There should be no such thing as qualified immunity because you're in a government job. Bullshit. You should be held under a stronger microscope than the rest of us.
Yes, and for cops, it's a little complicated, but a same thing for cops. Like, for example, for cops, it would be cops have cameras on 24/7. Like,
yes,
the moment they start duty, the camera turns on.
Yes.
And the moment they end duty, the camera turns off.
Yes.
They cannot turn it off to go to the bathroom. They cannot, like, the camera will be on.
Just there's that,
and they have like a really advanced microphone that hears every single thing that they say.
and not just that, but it needs to take longer than 2 weeks to get somebody into a fucking thing. I mean, and I know I'm exaggerating somewhat, because there is the Atlanta police program, which will hire absolutely anybody and have you as a cop in 2 weeks. And
I mean, Jim Bob, just become a cop and save the world. Come on, just become a cop and save the world.
Why? So that I get outed as quickly as they can, because I won't cover for any corrupt shit. My little brother was a cop in a town called Forest Park, and because he busted a captain and a sergeant that were helping a gang move a truck full of cocaine, he ended up having to move and become a detective in another county because they didn't want him around anymore because he outed corrupt cops. Like, that's the problem. That's why I'm saying, like, the as far as a cop, like, qualified immunity needs to be ended. And if you've got that camera going 24/7, then you're correct. There's nothing that they, it has a legitimate 24/7.
Yeah, and I will give it. And this is the thing.
And they need to be stopped being trained to escalate situations, because that's how they're trained.
So Wyatt Cenac had an HBO series, Problem Areas, an amazing show worth watching, really, really good. And the first few episodes go around exactly what you just said: the training of escalation of the U.S. police system.
Yes.
You look at other countries, it's all about de-escalation.
Yes.
And in Romania, they will beat the fuck out of you. In France, they will beat the fuck out of you, and in the UK, they will also beat the fuck out of you. But now with chain armor, could you look up that picture of
Oh my
the
God.
chain armor UK
Yes.
police? Because the violence in the UK has gotten so fucking out of whack that they are now wearing chainmail.
Jesus
People are like,
Christ.
Europe is more civilized. I'm like, sure, unless you bring in all the less civilized, like human
Oh
beings
my
in
God.
general. So this is the thing. Human beings in general live in peace. The problem is inequality generates differences. The more inequality is present in the society, the more violence is present. Inequality is actually the contributor to violence, because when people realize that they have something lesser than you, they desire it. When everybody's equal, there is no such desire to such a degree. So it is the building of inequality and the acceleration of inequality that
but-
generates the violence and generates the disorder.
Yes.
And you can
Like-
see it all over the country. You can see it all over the world. Like where there is consistent inequality, there's abuse. Oh my God, this. Yes, I can see it now. Yep, those are it. There's a whole gallery, right? Remember the gallery? Or that's the only one you.
That's the only one. I pulled up the first one that popped up, but it made me laugh.
They're real. They're putting on chainmail because of the amount of knife attacks, and they want to register the knives. In China, all the knives in Xinjiang have your ID on it. So that's the future. The future is my knife is going to have my name on it. All the knives in my house are going to have my name on it.
It's not the government's job to protect us from ourselves.
What is the government's job?
I don't honestly think they have one. Because the only thing they're good at doing is being tyrannical and spending money.
So what is a world without the government look like?
I don't think that it's possible to blanket.
Because the thing is, it's centralized order. That's essentially.
In the case of the United States, I think the idea of a blanket federal government over all of these people that are so different from state to state is absurd.
That's why in Switzerland, what they have is, I believe it's 90 different systems. And that's how they deal with the diversity that's in their country. Of course, they're a smaller country, but literally the country has super diverse. It's very diverse.
And I mean, we're very diverse.
4 languages they speak there. 4.
We're very diverse even down here, like on a state level. Even in New York, I know you're very diverse in New York. I've lived in New York, so I know like it's a very diverse kind of place. But
if it wasn't for all of the insane corruption, it would be a beautiful place to live in because of the amount of beautiful diversity. It's just when McKinsey, that company that helped establish wars and help consult warlords, charged the New York State government $4 million. And somebody was joking. Some intern was paid $10,000 an hour to write this fucking 90-page treatment. I got to send you the link. It's 90 pages speaking about why bins are good for New York. $4 million for is it feasible? A feasibility study. Does it make sense to get bins in New York City? Do we need to spend $4 million to state the fucking obvious?
They think we do.
For 15 years, we've had similar systems in Paris, Barcelona, and many other cities around the world. Yes, this city is larger than those cities. And let's not even go over how bad China is at managing trash.
Oh, yeah, no.
Like, people are like, China's so amazing. I'm like, bro, the lie that is China is so out of whack. Like, China is a poor country with lipstick and a cybernetic implant. That's what China is. It's a pig with lipstick and a cybernetic implant.
And they fake everything, even to waterfalls.
Everything is so fake. There is beauty in China. I'm not gonna give it. Like, it overall, the country's huge, and there's so much cultural diversity still left, even after the Cultural Revolution that destroyed most of it. But at the same time, what's happening in China is that everybody's just giving up. Like, they're laying flat. You ever heard of the laying flat?
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's going to spread. Laying flat is going to spread. It's similar to idea of what is it called? Quiet quitting, which is just, if you are going to treat me like shit for doing my job, I'm not going to do more than what my job is. I do envy those people with bullshit jobs. I want $150,000 bullshit job so I can just get, $13,000 a month given to me for literally doing nothing. I'm not gonna feel like I have no meaning. You
No.
do, because you're an idiot, but I don't, because I
No.
can build meaning with and keep that. Like, there's the Bullshit Jobs, a great book to read, and there's this story in the book about this person that, like, it just becomes a drunk because he has no meaning. And I'm like, oh, this guy needed was therapy, for fuck's sakes. It's so stupid. I'm like, you are privileged and having it was a great praying job, and the guy literally got fired just because he was walking in drunk all the time.
Jesus.
He
Yeah.
wanted to get fired. I'm like, okay. That's the thing. It's like, bullshit jobs exist because of bureaucracy in government.
Sure.
With artificial intelligence that's not present yet, we have like dumb intelligence. Once it becomes smart, like, start using ChatGPT, Omni, start using Claude, and then you're going to see it. It's getting really decent at breaking through and getting these things done. And one of my friends, he uses it every single day. And he's like, dude, like, it becomes an extension of me. I want to do something. And then a good hack he does is, like, he had a train of thought, right? But the thing starts breaking down. So he grabs that, makes it a document, and then feeds it to a new feed, and then says, based off this, and then continues. And I'm like, that's brilliant.
That is pretty good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good training. Like, that's a good trick for the system, because the system, so there's a limit to how much it can work on. But if you do something like, you're going to base off of this, I'm like, oh, okay. Hi, how can I help you? And then it knows what to do better. We don't know completely what it's all for. What is the meaning of everything we're experiencing other than experiencing it?
Sure.
So what these machines will do, if we push them in the right direction, is build the order so we can expand exponentially. I don't believe nuclear war will happen. I don't believe that the world is going to end. I believe that the world as we know it probably ends in 2025.
I don't worry about
What that means is likely the monetary system completely shifts and a bunch of other things start to shift. And I'm all for it. The system's broken. Yes, end this system.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Dismantle it. Oh, the dismantling of the federal government? Great. Look at Kenya. They added income taxes and everybody went ape shit. They're like, America did it. Let's do it. See, we're not even learning from our own what was it, a 3% tax? Was the Boston Tea Party a 3% tax on tea?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yes.
So we rebelled over 3%.
And now they're taking like 40% of your check and then turning around and getting at least the other 75% from friggin' everything you buy. Like, it's tax on tax on tax on tax.
And this is the thing. You would think, oh, 300,000, that's an incredible salary. You're rich. I'm like, no, after taxes, that's middle class. Congratulations. You are now middle class. Oh, what is it? The current number is 10% of the population is middle class. Middle class. And then 90% is poor. That's currently the demographics of the United States. 90% poor. 90% poor.
Jesus.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? 90% poor.
I feel their pain. I mean, you know, though, if it keeps on going, it's going to wind up.
I'm all for like massive child credits. Like Texas was going in the right direction, but didn't go far enough. Like they said, if you have 10 kids, you have no property taxes. But I'm like, 10? You assholes, 10? Who the fuck is gonna have 10? Like, just do it after 3. After 3 kids, you pay no property taxes.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good start.
Absolutely.
But you should also remember the $300 child credit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. And that was, I'm not sure, Trump removed it or Biden removed it. I can't remember which one. Either way, whoever did it, fuck you. You're an idiot. You should have kept it. The child credit was amazing. All my friends that had kids, they're like, that was helpful.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like diapers alone is $300. What the hell are you talking about?
Absolutely.
The thing is, every dollar. So can we do better? Of course we can do a lot better. All you need to do is eliminate all the glut. Destroy all of these agencies, have computers and private companies that are completely beholden to a criminal system, and you will suddenly see all the corruption go away. Because all we do is put a transparency system that anybody can come and look at like an NGO, basically running like an NGO. Overnight, everything starts operating properly. It's not. It can be done. It can be done fast. What do you do with public housing in New York City? The largest public housing system in the entire United States. You fire, you basically completely destroy everything that has to do with the current system. Mm-hmm. You take all the files, you give it to a corporation that's going to basically transfer it over to a whole new company. This whole new company, all that's going to do is actually hire people that are competent in doing it, and they're going to do the job. And the house, to give you a context, in New York City, the average turnaround for Section 8 housing is 400 days after it becomes vacant. 440 days or something. It should be 30 days. Mm-hmm. Unless the apartment was completely destroyed by whoever was occupying it, it shouldn't take more than a year to fix it.
Well, we also need, like, not only does the crumbling of like these regulations and stuff need to be taken care of inside of like the housing markets and stuff like that, but somewhere else that I'm all for deregulating in is we've got the FDA that have literally been regulating in poison to most of us and saying that it's okay for quite some time now. That's why you have shit that's just so bad for you.
The FDA, the way we fix the FDA is basically moving the story backwards. Like this FDA in the past was more efficient than it is today.
Sure.
So all you do is like look backwards. What was working I can't remember what it was working, but essentially when corporations weren't 60% of the budget, that's when it was likely working.
Yeah.
And we have to criminally prosecute Fauci.
And anybody that does things similar. Yeah.
And the head of the CDC, the 100%. Current head of the CDC, the past head of the CDC, they both need to be fully legally prosecuted for pushing technology that is currently harming the community. That technology is unproven and is toxic.
Between that and all of the ultra processed foods that, the stuff you just can't actually literally make at home because hell, you probably couldn't even buy half the ingredients.
That's the thing, is like people are like, oh, but what's processed foods? I'm like, guacamole is processed foods.
Well, yeah, guacamole, absolutely. Once you take an apple and start cutting it, you're processing that apple.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
But
like, that's not harm. Processed foods are harmful.
But
people
the
are
ultra,
like, processed foods are harmful. I'm like,
but the ultra processed stuff
don't get what makes it ultra. Like, is a sausage a processed food? No. You can make it in your home.
Yes.
And you can make it in your home in like 3 ingredients.
But I dare you to try to make an Oreo.
You can probably make Oreos, but not the same.
I bet you're not going to be able to make it. Yeah, you're not gonna have the same chemicals, and you could 100% make an Oreo.
Cook a better freaking Oreo than
yes.
Oreo.
No. That's what I'm saying though. You could probably make
in my
something
kitchen.
better,
I can make something better than the Oreos.
But I'm trying to use that as an example. Like that's one of those things that when you flip it over and read the ingredients, not only can you not fucking pronounce 3/4 of it.
Do you remember that TikTok? First of all, like we had. Why don't you just start a cooking channel? Do you remember that TikToker that flamboyant that does like old recipes?
Yes, I love him. He is my favorite. I love that dude.
He's like, let's make this today. I'm like,
he lives down in Bermuda. Like he's an interesting character.
Well, he's amazing, and he cooks recipes generally that are 50 years old and older. And some of them
turn out great.
Sound amazing.
Some of them are just like,
oh yeah, some of them are like, well, what the fuck was I cooking? It's like, he's like, oh.
In fact, because of him, anytime I crack eggs, I say eggies.
I cook a lot more with eggs, so I generally, I'm eating like an average of 4 eggs a day. I'm eating way more protein. Way less sugars, and I try to keep anything I eat under 10. That is under 10 ingredients.
You do look fantastic. You look like you've lost quite a bit of weight, honestly.
I feel generally better, and when I get sick, I recover much faster. But it's more of everything else. It's everything else that is killing me faster and faster, and it's just hard to focus.
Sure. I mean, and again, all the folks out there watching and listening and stuff, that's part of taking a break too, man. Like, the internet gets to you quick.
I mean, it
can be detrimental to your health. It got to our buddy John. I've seen it get to other people too. Like some people just need to turn it off.
A year ago, he was 16,000 followers. And then he went to 2.4 million and then down to 1 million. Now, down to 1 million. And he also lost all his sponsors because he insulted them. And I'm like, bro, why would you say that? Like, I get it, but no. Yeah, remember, he lost all his sponsors because he said, like, he outright just said, "Oh, they don't work." I'm like, why would you do that, dude? You can't talk about yours. Like, they're paying you. Like,
oh my god,
play the game. If you're gonna play a game, play the game. But they're sensitive. Like, if you're like the guys of No Agenda that make good money, but they also have a value for value model where people just donate whatever the fuck they think, and yes, they get tens of thousands of dollars an episode, plus all the unknown donations, but they've been doing it for 15 years, and honestly, they have one of the best products on the internet when it comes to podcast.
Yeah.
That's where I learned about the Biden thing, because a neurologist came in and just was starting to say, actually, I actually have it here. Let me just look up, because this is fascinating. This is the neurologist's perspective in relationship to, let me see here. Here it is. Let me see real quick. Where is it? Where is it? Come on, brain. Ah, this is sometimes so unnecessarily hard. Oh, here we go. There we go.
over shop in there.
And I let it distract.
Yes.
Cocaine is out.
This next clip, this is very short. After you play the next clip, I'm going to read the note from a neurologist who I think has got the right determination here that's coming up. And I think it's confirmed by this next clip. This is a very short clip. And this is the just a shouting clip. Yes.
Cocaine was having a bad night when I realized that even when I was answering a question, even though they turned his mic off, he was still shouting. And I let it distract me.
Now
Oh my
at this
lord!
point, we know he didn't watch the debate.
No, and he wasn't even there.
Because if he had watched the debate, he'd know that it was most 90% of the time it was a two-shot. It wasn't a two-shot, but it was a double box.
Yes.
So they had Trump in a box and him in a box. So you saw Trump the whole time, and you never once saw him shouting over with a dead mic.
No. I can
He
remember.
wasn't shouting at all, but he wasn't shouting with a dead mic, which makes me think that and I feel bad about some of this. It makes me think that Biden is having hallucinations, which brings me to this note from
Yes. I put this in the show notes. This is good.
it says, "Do not use my name. I'm anonymous." He's our new anonymous neurologist.
Okay.
The symptoms probably started when Biden was VP. He's talking about these manifestations and manifest as frequent gaffes. And, I'm reading this note, and then I also have a note I have a little rundown from the Mayo Clinic on this phenomenon. And it makes me feel bad about our drunk or not drunk segment.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Now we have to feel bad about it. We are sinners.
Well, you're the one that kept saying,
They have a segment where basically they were playing a clip of like somebody in government, and they were like, drunk or not drunk? Are they drunk?
Oh my lord!
And Biden did it all the time, and so does Nancy Pelosi, because Nancy Pelosi's a drunk. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But you'll get to the symptoms again, because I looked it up, but I completely lost the link.
it's elder abuse. We shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, and then you made me give that up. You said, I don't care. He deserves it. He deserves
Yes, exactly. You're right. You're absolutely right. I bitched about you complaining, and then you just relented, and we continued it. But now I feel bad. What can I say?
it. All right, it's okay. You're a mensch.
I don't.
What can I say? You're a
Well,
mensch.
The
it's
symptoms
syndrome.
probably started when Biden was VP and manifest as frequent gaffes. This resulted in episodes of misremembering and fabricating stories from his past. This was reminiscent of President Reagan when he was accused of confusing movie roles with reality,
Oh, yeah.
and it predated his announcement that he had developed Alzheimer's.
And let's please remember that every psychologist was out there analyzing Trump as being insane, narcissistic personality disorder, all kinds of things they did.
Yeah, and they continue to do so.
Yeah, where is that here?
Over time, Biden's episode occurred more frequently. Outbursts of anger and irritability emerged, and the conditions seemed to interfere with his judgment and self-control. Over the last 2 years, the signs of a Parkinsonian syndrome, decline in balance, stiffness, slowing down, soft voice, mumbling, and difficult to understand speech became apparent. No tremor has been noted. This is typical presentation of diffuse Lewy body disease.
Diffused Lewy body disease. Look
All
up
right.
diffused Lewy body disease. Diffused Lewy body disease on Mayo Clinic will be the top thing to choose.
B.
Yeah.
And would be less likely be consistent with it's less likely be consistent with Parkinson's. DLB is worse, as the cognitive and psychiatric symptoms are more severe, and there is no treatment, and the disease tends to progress more quickly. And this is what Robin Williams died of.
Yes, we also put a video in the show notes of his widow from 2022 doing a TED Talk about this.
Now, that video...
It's quite I watched, it's only 10 minutes, but it's quite interesting.
Gotta look it up.
That video is It's from 2022, and it cropped up. I believe it was planted to crop. It was made to crop up. This is starting to be introduced. I'm convinced by, again, the CFR out to get Biden. They have to get rid of him because this is becoming ridiculous. And so I went to I said,
Oh yeah, they think the CFR is behind the anti-Biden movement.
Really?
All on foreign relations.
Oh,
Remember what did the other fellow that was here said? Remember that he said it was the Bank of International Settlements.
wait, who are we talking about?
Malone.
Yeah. Now I remember. Yeah.
They're all connected.
It's a banker's world. We're just stuck in it.
Yeah, I should have gone into banking. I'd be so happy.
Well, then that's what we need to do. We need to figure out how to start a bank, Luis.
Oh, if we figure that out, I got the guy. I have the guy now. I have made friends with the guy. It's just who might be CCP, but I don't care at this point.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I mean,
if I have to ally with the Chinese in order to actually create a prosperous future for myself, I don't care. This is, again, all satire. Stop thinking I'm going to be an agent of the CCP.
I mean, did you? I got a clip from that recent speech of our buddy Z. I don't know if you've seen this or not.
Oh,
but he got a standing ovation for this thing. Like, it was pretty awesome.
All right, let's listen to the commander.
Oh, I didn't have all the audio yet, but believe it or not, I actually made that with AI. I wanted to see if I could get Winnie the Pooh giving a speech in front of Chinese people, and that's what it gave me.
Runway ML3. Try to use Runway ML3.
I've been able to extend it actually another 5 seconds to where it does actually end in a standing ovation, but I don't have any sound or anything. I haven't tried to do any sound or anything.
Well, this is the thing. Well, sound is going to be easier. Udio, did you listen to the song I sent you? The songs I sent you guys?
I listened to some of the stuff. I sometimes miss things though too, because we all get carried away sometimes when there aren't everybody in their group.
No, but the songs primarily, I was like, please listen to the song. Okay, so this song. Okay, so this one song is like pretty crazy when you listen to it.
All right.
Because I was like, this came out because I wrote this paragraph because I was like, what the fuck is reality turning into, right? So I think this is the one. This is the thing is, I think generating music is part of how you're going to grab people's attention. And it was present in the past.
I've been following a guy that's been feeding an AI music generator just interesting ideas, and it's pretty friggin' hilarious, actually.
So the first 30 something seconds, I just did it instrumental, and I accidentally hit auto generate in the next ones, and it generated lyrics.
Yeah. This dude that I've been watching on YouTube, he's been making them with prompts, and they've been doing
the largest Spotify profiteer.
For sale signs through broken glass in the homes where laughter died, echoes of a better past. We're holding on to fading days when cars turn to rust and hope decayed. Factory silent, once so proud, chains and locks on doors that won't turn. Land of dreams under a stormy cloud. Smoke and ash.
Sounds very.
Used to boast in the land of the brave.
It sounds almost Led Zeppelin-ish to me.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like this weird 70s vibe, and I'm like, oh, I'm liking this.
I mean,
like, I have no idea how the hell they went there, but cool.
The one dude that I've been watching, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's been making some kind of
So-
comedic style country music songs.
The
And that shit's
currently the
hilarious.
largest the person that makes the most profit on Spotify is 642 artists. He manages 642 AI created artists.
Holy shit.
This guy is literally like the person that makes the most money on Spotify.
Holy shit.
He is not one person. He is 642 people or something.
That's a whole lot of email addresses.
Well, he has a fucking company doing all of this. Like he has a whole system, but it's all AI generated. It's been for years. He's been doing it for years,
Interesting.
and nobody was noticing who he was. So he's been exploiting Spotify to a high degree, and he is he's probably a few people, but essentially he is one entity in relationship. So that's the thing is, we've broken the formula of what makes a song a song.
Yeah.
So like there was a SpongeBob like remix of a song recently, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, this song!" And they didn't realize it wasn't Patrick singing. It's somebody just put Patrick's voice on top of this country music or some singer's voice and something.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, what we need to do is realize that the way we pick up people's attention is by just creating these crazy songs. I think you should start just creating songs, Jim Bob. That's that's it. You're just gonna become a music writer.
Music writer.
I don't know why you don't go into that. That's not a bad direction, Jim.
Other than I do make fun of my nephew on a regular basis for his rap career.
Well, with this, he can take his lyrics and actually I should tell John, who is by the way, you know John's a rapper. You had no idea, did you? John can actually rap. He's just lost his voice over time. I just told him, I was like, dude, if this wasn't just recorded horribly, this is actually decent. Yeah, he's not a bad rapper. It's more of like he's lost his voice because he hasn't trained, and it's like years of like, you don't train your voice, you're eventually going to lose your voice. You have to train it back up.
Sure.
So he could potentially rap again. It's just more like you got to just train your voice back up again because it's hard to rap. People are like, rapping's easy. I'm like, try it. Anybody who's tried to rap, like, please try it. Singing is very hard. Rapping is extremely hard. Especially improv rapping. Wow. That is an art form.
Absolutely.
A very complex art form that not many people can fucking copy. Eminem is just a weird situation. He's a weird person. I haven't heard his last album, but
I mean, I've only heard there's been the main track that was album. I don't think's out yet. The main track was released, and I think another track.
All he said is like it's going to be the most, because I think he said like something it might be last. He's like he's going to go all out. He's like
I think there was another track released yesterday, and I just haven't actually had an opportunity to listen to it yet.
He might just go like, "Oh, you think White America was bad?" I'm like, I think he's going to go in that direction. He's just going to go back into political because he was a very political.
Go back
rapper.
to Slim Shady.
I think that's kind of what he was saying he was going to do. He was basically
other
go back to Slim Shady.
Other than the fact that I hope he goes after everybody and doesn't continue to defend people like Biden. Like,
no, I think that's a mix of misguided. Remember P. Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs,
even Jack Black just recently was all fondling over a Joe Biden fucking thing.
Like who was it that was like posting something stupid about Biden and was like, oh, I can tell he was paid to post that. I mean,
Mark Hamill.
They have to be paid, dude. They have to be getting paid. Like, remember the influencers that were like, oh yeah, the White House paid me $50,000 to do this.
Yeah.
They're just like, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. And I'm glad for those kids.
There was it was a rally.
They're 22 years
Jack
old and,
Black
like,
did a Biden rally recently, is what it was.
they have to. They're paying Jack Black a fuck ton of money to do that. There's no way in hell he's doing. He's just like, I'm doing it for. Even though Jack Black's a very rich man, I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you tarnishing your reputation over a piece of shit?
I love Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, and I used to have a bunch of their album stuff too.
I mean, look at this fella.
I've always thought
Mike
Jack
Myers.
Black,
Mike Myers. But by the way, please watch Pentabyrinth. What was it called? He literally is telling you everything in that
Netflix show. I haven't watched it, but I've heard that it was pretty
so
awesome.
Good because it's literally just telling you the truth.
Of all things, I'm watching a cop show just because I like Nathan Fillion.
What cop show?
It's called The Rookie.
Oh, I heard it's not bad, but
it's not bad. But I like Nathan Fillion, and I've noticed something interesting about Nathan Fillion. In his show that he actually produces and helps write and stars in, he has been using a really obscure rapper frequently as tracks in the show. And like, of course, I've been a little beside myself because I've been like, not that many people know who Prof is. Like, he's been around for a hot minute, like for a good long time, but he's never been up on like the main scene or anything like that. He even had a battle with John Stamos. Like, he's an interesting character, and I enjoy his rap because it's way different, and it has a certain attitude about it. I don't know how to explain it. I can just recommend some of the tracks. And like the other day, it was like the fourth or fifth time I've heard we were watching an episode, and I was like, holy shit, there goes Prof again. I was like, Nathan Fillion's got to know who Prof is. That's the only way that music's making it into this thing. Like, because he's not a mainstream kind of guy. Like, it's nothing you'd ever hear on the radio.
What is the radio anymore?
Man, see, corporate radio sucks balls. But we have the pleasure down here of having a local radio station that is legitimately like local. Like, in fact, I can totally go to the friggin' tower and the building where everything's done. It's that close to the house. Like, and that was our conversation the other day. And I happen to know the dude that's like the host of it and stuff. He's related actually to my best friend's fiance, which is super weird because me and Dustin were partying with him for years before that even happened. His name's Southside Steve. He's a really cool fellow, but he got in, and they're a local radio station. They're not a corporate station. As long as they follow the FCC guidelines, they can get away with more. They can play more music. They're not bolted down by having groupthink forced on them, because that's what he's been on the radio for years and years and years down here in Georgia, 20 plus years, and he actually refused to take a shot when everybody was being told they had to take a shot or lose their job. And then he turned around and started his own radio station, which is pretty awesome. Well,
good things are coming.
I totally work for him. Southside Steve, if you happen to catch this episode, buddy, I'll do Saturday nights for you.
We'll just approach him. That's all you need to do.
I know. I should. It wouldn't be that hard, actually.
Why aren't you in radio?
I don't know. Because I didn't want to be an intern.
I think you don't need to be an intern anymore, Jim Bob.
Back in the day, you had to, though. Like, that was
sure. You already have a body of work, and you already have like.
I do. I could show you our website, and you could watch me for hours.
You can train the AI on you, and an AI just trained on Jim Bob. Holy shit!
What could we make?
What unhinged monster can we one day make? Just feeding it all of the podcast. Oh my God, it would be the most insane thing I could possibly imagine. I want to do that one day. And again, this week, you're going to send me all of the episodes. We have to create an archive because we are going to build that unhinged machine one day.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
We have to build that unhinged machine.
I'm just going to have to do it episode for episode. You're going to get 218 emails.
I don't care. You don't have to send me an email, dude. You can literally do one thing. You drop the files and they upload.
Yes, I know. And for some reason, every time I've tried to do that, it ends in chaos. And
No, you don't have to upload.
I don't have help.
What do you mean you don't have help? You have me.
Yes, I know. But I'm saying, like, I don't have. Computers got ahead of me. I quit playing with them for many years, and that's my fault. I used to be really good. I used to be able to do cool things and look at things I wasn't supposed to. And now I'm behind.
Oh, please. You're not behind. The whole world is behind. The computers have just accelerated in their progress to such an extent that everybody feels behind.
Yeah, they really have.
Don't worry about it. Like, again, it's all in levels.
Yeah.
It's all in levels. Now,
Yeah.
we have to utilize the machines as best we can. I that random track that UDO made was like incredible. The other one was kind of crazy. Wait, that one was called Collapse of a Dream, and then this one is kind of like weird. Like Metallica.
Later Metallica. Oh, well, not very thrashy. But I do dig it.
I said esque, but let's see what it gets to the singing. Let's see. This one is not as good, but it's like it starts interesting and it gets weird. Like the computer definitely goes stupid. So let's see where it goes. Yeah.
Empty streets where dreams used to roam. Vocal signs in neighborhoods once known. Rusty cars.
I'm getting like Iron Maiden vibes.
Job to job, just trying to hold on. Is this the fall of what we knew? When hopes are breath we cannot find.
Like it's like anyone does the whole what we knew. Like it what? This was a beta. I mean, that's not beta anymore ish, but obviously they're getting sued. The UDO is getting sued out of
Sure.
and they're like, so was Napster. They survived.
True.
It's called Spotify.
That's a lot of things do that. They just rebrand and
I just
come
can't,
back out.
like the story of Sean Parker just alone. So starts
True.
off building a peer-to-peer torrenting-esque system, then gets sued into oblivion, and then becomes the CEO of Facebook. What the fuck? How the hell did that happen? And then he becomes obscenely rich. Then he built Spotify. Sean Parker is like way more of a success story than Mark Zuckerberg, if you actually think about it.
Sure.
Because Mark Zuckerberg came from wealth. Sean Parker didn't. Sean Parker just like literally stumbled upon his creation, and then just everything went absolutely insane.
Part of me thinks that Zuckerberg was created in a lab strictly to be the face of Facebook.
Mark Zuckerberg is just slightly autistic guy, came from wealth.
Sure, that explains the sweet baby rays on the mantle.
If people have not looked this video up, if you're listening, just look up Mark Zuckerberg sweet baby rays, and you're gonna watch a Facebook Live that I watched when it happened. I was so like, what the fuck is this? What am I watching? Obviously he took it down, but the internet is forever, baby. And yeah, like he was a lot of friends. I was when I was watching, I was thinking, what the fuck is behind him? Who are the people around him at this moment? Who are the, because this guy is worth $100 billion. Like this guy saying baby Ray, and like just repeating himself and it's weird autistic spin. He had a podcast.
He had a glitch that day, bro. I'm telling you, like the chip was off or something, and
so he had a podcast and then he stopped doing it because he realized he was like, you can't do this. He's gotten way better at talking, and you know what fixed him? Sports.
Mm.
He realized punching people fixed him.
Mm. That's fair.
I think he started to fix himself once he started fighting and realizing his mortality.
That's fair.
So that's why he's become more like logical now, and and his strategy is burn everybody else down to the ground by releasing information that they're so. Facebook has been consistently just releasing Llama 1, 2, 3. The thing is, these models are then used by the rest of the market to build more models.
Well,
So
unfortunately,
he is pushing AI forward more than anybody else. So he's become accidentally, weirdly enough, the most open source option and the most open option that's accelerating the growth of AI.
unfortunately, I figure Facebook's probably a pretty lame place since I'm still not
Oh,
back.
he knows
So
Facebook is dying. He knows it. He fucking knows it.
that's what you get when you get rid of the best.
Of course. 23 times?
24 time champion.
24-time champion. I'm only once or twice.
I apologize for that one because it's just your,
I didn't do
mingling with me.
anything.
I know you didn't do anything.
I didn't even do anything.
You didn't do anything. My wife didn't do anything. Like, there's a couple
That
of
was
people that
atrocious,
didn't do
man.
anything. Like, they just definitely targeted us and was like, bye.
But like, I want to one day figure out what the fuck did you say or I said.
Me
or
too. I want to see my Facebook file.
You man. All you have to do is do we could do. Oh, it's too much work.
So much work.
To do a FOIA request on yourself is so much fucking work. I saw a Redditor once do it, and he's like, you gotta file this fucking big on himself.
That's pretty good. I wonder how big my file is.
I wanted to say your name out loud, but I was like, I'm not gonna say your name.
Yeah, I'm not sure how big the file is on that on the actual name too. I wonder if they have them separated.
No, it's like they just write AKA and then just write all your names.
Ah, damn it.
That's usually what they do. They write your real name and then they write AKA. They just write your aliases.
Damn it. I bet you that Bellingcat thing's in there too, though. So that's
Well,
good.
do you think
I
it
at least
was
have that
Bellingcat?
or whoever or whichever one it was that wrote that one.
Do you think it was Bellingcat?
I forget who it was that wrote it.
No, I mean, do you think it was because of the Bellingcats thing somehow?
No. But see, that was so many years prior.
But did they say your by name? I forgot.
Nope, they use my at the time my alias on Facebook was William Wallace. So
and they wrote William Wallace. And what was your view?
and there was mine, there was the Neptune Commando, which was Tristan, and there was the Kentucky Bandit, which and Tanman. I remember they mentioned Tanman, which is Jason, the other guy in our group chat, the young guy.
Yeah, you're not pushing an insurrection tomorrow. You're not doing that.
I have no plans for that. I just want them to leave me alone, and I'll leave them alone.
100 million people want to be left alone. But if they go vote, just don't vote for Biden, please. Vote for a turd sandwich and vote for your local elections. Your local elections matter. Your local elections have a real effect, as long as they don't steal the elections too.
I mean, we currently have a.
Your local representatives matter. Vote for your local representative. I say
there's a you can look this up. Here's a fun fact. There's a mayor in Georgia. He's currently a mayor in Georgia, and he's still under trial for murdering 4 teenagers in his patrol car when he was still a state trooper. He ran them over. How does that happen?
He's the mayor.
He in his patrol car, he didn't have lights on or nothing. He was doing 95 and a 45.
Okay.
Yeah, and now he's a mayor.
Well, so you know what that shows you, right?
That people are stupid.
No, that if he can make it, you can make it.
I don't have qualified immunity.
Remember, you've not done any crimes, nor will you.
Yeah.
The people at their lowest is right before they get everything they could ever desire, want, and need.
That's what I hear.
And you know what's enough. I
know.
believe you know the idea of what enough is.
If
you know what's enough, you can build the empire around you that you need. You understand enough, and enough is the most important thing you could possibly attain to achieve. I've met this person that knows what enough is to a degree, and he's insanely rich, and but his perspectives are like really great because this guy literally talks to millionaires and billionaires all the time. I talk to him, so it's like, oh, I'm talking to at least one billionaire, but like he does that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And he just tells me, look, the majority of them are just stupid, but they're consistent.
Yeah.
Stupidity will get you everywhere if you are consistent.
That's fair.
So
I can see that. Is that going to be your final thoughts for this evening, Luis?
yes,
Stupid,
consistency will get you anywhere, even if you're a
very
stupid idiot. So don't worry. If you're a stupid idiot, it doesn't matter. As long as you're consistent. Consistency is more important than intelligence.
In a weird way, that's pretty wise words. Like, sorry, I had to be funny.
A lot of the richest people are not that smart.
That's true. So, again, we thank you guys for tuning back in. We apologize for the hiatus. I think we're going to be trying to pick it back up. Hopefully, some other heads will be popping up in here too in the near future. I know for a fact Bandit is literally getting a hot water heater installed as we speak. He's been sending me pictures throughout the night because he went through a whole thing because it's only been like 9 months since his hot water heater was installed, and
it failed.
Oh, dude, it was it failed, and it's been a whole thing because
at least it's under warranty, but it's just a bitch.
They were trying to avoid acknowledging the warranty, and he's ended up having to go through this whole thing. And
it's
now
9 months. Those machines have 10-year warranties.
Now, not only does he have a new hot water heater, but they're also going to fix a bathroom that apparently the same company fucked up over a year ago. So like they're kissing his ass because he finally just like laid into him. I guess I'm glad for him, and
he's too nice. And when the military calls him back, yeah,
he said he's not going back unless it's a civilian training job.
They might do that. I mean, he sounds extremely competent at what he did. It's more about he needs to be paid over X amount, and then maybe he'll take it. I know Neptune wouldn't even more than him because
and y'all make sure y'all keep Neptune in your thoughts and prayers, man. Like he's doing good now, but he had some health issues and stuff, and having to keep an eye out on him.
He'll be well. So.
And everybody else is doing pretty well. I will say Kel's been a little MIA. It's been a couple weeks since I've talked to him, but I do know the last I talked to him, he wasn't doing bad. So
I mean, he is the one in the group that's been shot at.
He is.
How many shots?
Like total, like there was multiple shots fired at him, but I believe it was 3 bullets that had to totally be removed from him. So nothing was fatal, but we have our own. Last I talked to him,
we have our own 50 Cent.
Last I talked to him, him and his son were trying to do as best as they could. He was finally out of that apartment that he was living in, and he was getting into a house. So I hope that everything's well with him as well. So I appreciate you so much for joining me tonight, Luis. You guys make sure y'all tune in again and to all those channels, and I'll try to get to post them again. I've been just taking a break from it all, enjoying the summer with my kids, because I think that's more important than talking to imaginary people on the internet that might just be AI bots created to talk to me, Luis.
Well,
But you
We
guys
have
know
them
that I
back.
love to leave it with something funny. So before I get out of here, I got a good one for you tonight, Luis. Why do white people own so many pets? Because they can't own people anymore. Good night, everybody.